Hello and welcome to episode 5 of my development series of my game Crisis Arcana. This episode I'll be going over the addition of one of my new worlds, currently titled Room World, but that's because I'm crap with naming things, so I'll figure out something better in the future. This world's levels features combinations of random room layouts as well as the inside of the rooms are populated with random obstacles for the player to navigate. The player never experiences the same level twice. I ended up using Platform Prod's videos on this to help as massive inspiration for achieving what I wanted to do. I started by creating overall room walls using my stone wall texture from earlier, and then I assigned box colliders to each of them. After, I made holes in each of the side of the walls as these would be the entrances to the room. I would then copy the walls over and then add or delete entrances based on the room type I was trying to create. It took a while, but eventually I created about 15 different rooms, all with different amounts and locations of their entrances. For each entrance for each room, I created a spawn point game object, a distance out from the entrance. These spawn points will be used to, spawn in another room, which will have its own entrances, own spawn points, and so on and so forth. I added in code which would have the spawn points choose a random room from the selection of rooms and then have it spawn on top of it. Each spawn point can only spawn a room once, though rooms will keep being spawned until every spawn point has spawned a room. Eventually the rooms all lead to a dead end, though I added in a wall texture for where two rooms would have led to one, thus not to confuse the program. With walls being generated, I next decided it was best to make the rooms actually look nice and have a floor. So I went and reused some of the code from the random world I had. I modified it to use different assets and only affect the ground tile map instead of the decorations and the obstacles one for now. I tested it out, though there were a couple of issues. Now the floor did spawn and it did appear to be random, and it also filled the room, however it filled outside the room as well. Also, it was the only room to be filled. I went back to the code and made a very quick little fix. And voila, I was now having a random floor created in every single one of the rooms, and it was staying inside of the rooms. Next was to actually populate the room with some obstacles, so I went and created some basic wall assets which consisted of wall textures with box colliders attached to them. I created a script which would hold all of these obstacles and then choose which one to randomly place in a set location. The location will match the position of the object this script is attached to. When the rooms spawn in, a few of these objects will also spawn inside the rooms. This script will then run on each of the objects and randomly determine which obstacle to place. The points were originally allocated randomly throughout the rooms, but this led to some circumstances where the walls were piled on top of each other and it was all really congested. I decided to use an alternate method where I would predetermine where the points would be in each room. I pre-made various layouts for where the points will be, and then I edited the code so that each room now randomly chooses which layout to use. In total, the overall level layout is random, the positioning of the obstacles within each room is random, as well as what the obstacles actually are is also random. I then started to make various changes to different aspects of everything I had done. I started by downsizing every single one of the assets so that we're now in smaller rooms. The size of one room will now be the size of your screen if you stood exactly in the centre. I also downsized the obstacle assets so that they weren't literally filling up the entire room, and I also made it so the enemies would now spawn and navigate around these randomly spawned in assets. This helped to make the game a lot more frantic, as you are literally now running for your life trying to navigate these tight random hallways and corridors. I then started work on having the player being able to reach the end of this level and thus transport to the next. So I created a simple portal asset that the player could interact with. Next, I had to create the script which would allow the user to interact with the portal and transport to the next level. This wasn't as tricky as I could reuse most of the code I had already used in previous areas such as the level up station and the save station. The main change I had to do was just actually make it reload the level upon interacting with the object. Since recording this footage, I have gone back and updated it so it does actually save the player's stats before reloading the level and resetting them as it had been doing. I placed a portal in my scene, added a collider to it and attached the script to it, and then turned the portal into its own prefab. Then I tested the level out to see if I could actually interact with the portal and reset the level. As I found out, I could, so yay! I then added a little script which would make it so the portal would choose one of the random rooms and then spawn in that room. Theoretically, the portal could spawn in the very first room the user chooses to go into, but then the user has to decide, is it worth going now, or should I explore and gather some more riches and experience before I head down a level? I'm going to make it so the lower the level, or the further the user progresses through the levels in a world, the harder and more difficult the enemies are. But don't worry, because the rewards will also be greater the further into the levels and worlds the user goes. To finish off, I simply just added a portal to the hub area so I could actually enter this room, and then I just played it out. I gave my character some basic starting stats and went into my game. I'm happy with how well it's come on so far, and I'm happy with the basic system I've got. Next, I want to truly further improve on it. I want to add more assets, I want to make it look better. I want to add special types of rooms. And at some point I'm going to have to add in the end boss and such, which I look forward to. It should be good fun. To be honest, I think at this stage I've actually got all of the basic mechanics fully done now, and thanks to the way I've set them up, it's not going to be too difficult to actually add in all the advanced stuff. For example, to add in a new enemy, all I need to do now is actually add in the texture. Obviously I'll add in animations as well, but for the enemy it's just add in the texture and then just set how fast it moves and the damage and health it has. I've been efficient in planning for the advanced stages, so I actually look forward into this next step. Anyway, I'm going to end the video there because it's been going on long enough and I'm sure you're tired of me right now. So, I hope you enjoyed the video and I hope you continue to carry on watching as I keep publishing this. I think I'm getting better. I feel like the editing's better. I'm getting quite consistent with the public uploading dates. It's between 3 and 4 days based on how much I have to do. And I think the size of the videos is good. It's long enough as it is. But anyway, thank you all for watching. If you have any feedback, please comment away. Leave a like if you want, subscribe if you want a cheeky notification every time I post one of these. And that's about it. I hope to hear from you all and see from you all next time, and I bid you all farewell. See you later.